how to make money doing single builds.
The investors out there who are looking to buy an investment property to rent out, they're not as aggressive when it comes to buying at the moment. If you're buying land at around 2 to 2.5, somewhere in that price bracket, and then you're selling single houses for about 5.5, there's good money to be made.
To live in a massive 4-bed, 5-bed, 52, 57 square home, it's more or less the Australian dream.
Welcome to the Development Tank, brought to you by ReadyBuild, the best value in knockdown rebuild and dual occupancy projects in the market. I'm inside one of our ReadyBuild display homes where quality meets affordability. If you're planning a project anywhere in Australia, talk to me first. Scan the QR code or hit the link to book a free call. We'll beat the competition on price, service and value, guaranteed. If you're going to build, you're crazy not to build with ReadyBuild. Let's get into the podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Development Tank. We're back in the office. We're back in Little Fish HQ. We've been out on the road with Claire. As everyone knows, we're back here with Guru Gav. Now, he hasn't been resting. Whilst he's been away, he's been snapping up sites. That's what he does. And rippers too. So keen to get into that. Keen to show you what we're doing. We've bought a site in sunny Brighton East, one of the prime areas here in Melbourne. And we will be putting on our ReadyBuild single. So we're about to show everyone how to make money doing single homes, cheaper, more cost effective, quicker turnaround times coming at you. So let's get into it with Guru. He hasn't been napping fish. He hasn't been napping. He's been buying up sites. So let's get into it. Good to have you back, Gav.
Great to be back. It's been busy.
Been busy. You've been buying some sites, which is super exciting. Before we get into this site, I'd love to just touch on your thoughts about market sentiment, the clients that are coming to us, because as we know, it's been a bit quiet, it's been hard, and it still is hard, right? You know, money's still expensive. The messaging coming out of the RBA is all, sort of doom and gloom. Just love to talk to you about the people you're talking to and where their mindsets are at.
Yeah, I think the RBA is doing what they wanted to do, whether it's just holding the rates where they are, or it's all the commentary in between, just trying to scare people really into not spending money. Stop spending money. They're trying to get the message through, and it's working. So, there's no doubt that the market sentiment is low. The commercial headlines out there and your major media outlets, they're all singing the same song and scaring people off, which is I guess ultimately is reducing the amount of money people are spending on everything and property, and we're sort of maybe getting closer to that interest rate cut that we're all hoping for.
But you're buying sites, Gav.
Absolutely, yeah. So
what's going on? It's different inside here.
Absolutely. So savvy developers, savvy investors, really, they've been through this before. They've been through the cycles. They see the headlines. They go, yeah, that's fine. That's probably a good time to be out there looking around. And sure enough, we've got some very good and big investors who are quite active in projects we've already got on. And they've been calling up, we've got a client who bought a site in Sandringham recently. It's a big project, expensive project. And he's been around a while. He knows what's going on. And he called just the other week and said, hey, look, what's coming up?
Yeah. What do you got? Yeah. So it just goes to show the people, savvy business people that have been around a while, they understand when they can sense the bottom, they can sense the the blood in the streets, and as we know, these life cycles of these projects, 12, 18, 24 months, they're bullish that we're going to be selling in a better marketplace than we are currently. So
definitely.
And they're the clients you're buying for, the savvy people out there that have got the means to do it, and they feel like now's the right time. So it's exciting for you, it's exciting for us, it's exciting for them.
Yeah, look, I'm obviously at the front. I'm chatting to agents every day. We're looking to buy sites every day, doing feasibilities, understanding timelines in relation to construction and project timelines. If I had any spare money, I'd be buying a site right now.
You'd be in.
Absolutely.
So beautiful, Gav. So thanks for that sort of your angle and your view on where things sit. What about this site? I think you're pretty excited about this site, and you're about to show us and about to teach us how to make money doing single builds, which will be faster and cheaper than dual locks.
Yeah.
So it's going to be super interesting.
Yeah, look, I've even got a couple of friends that have been doing this for a while that I was talking to a year or so ago even, and they were saying, if they were to do something at that time, and it was pretty flat back then as well, they'd probably be looking at single houses and also talking to agents as well, because I'm obviously I'm in the marketplace looking for sites for our clients, and we've got a spread of clients. They're not all super wealthy. We've also got people that are sort of breaking in, doing their first project. So I've got quite a broad selection of clients that I've got to choose from with different budgets. But not only that, I'm active myself. So I'm also always looking for what's next. What can I do? How can I minimize risk and maximize profit? And just talking to agents, who are selling townhouses and selling houses, on saying, what are you seeing out there? And there were a couple that were saying a good quality house in a great area, they're selling really well. There's a demand for them. There's probably a proportionate demand for those properties. So just doing a bit of research, and it's been about a year, but it's led up to this point, at least anyway, where I guess myself, but also the business has more confidence in the strategy. And we've also, in that time, we're doing a lot of DD and building relationships and our understanding of how it would work. And now we're sort of in a position where we're ready to jump down and pick up a couple of sites. And it's really stacking up quite nicely.
Yeah, nice. And I think a great point there, Gav, like most of us in here and in this building, we're either aspiring developers, there's a group of aspiring developers, or we're developers ourselves. So, and great example, you're a developer yourself, you're an investor yourself, you're hungry to succeed, and essentially that's your pure ambition, and you get to bring your clients along for the ride. So, so for yourself, you're buying sites that you would buy for yourself, but you can't buy them all. And essentially you get to do that for other people. So I just think that's a great message that, we're not in here just sort of spruiking something that we don't believe. This is a course that we're running for ourselves and for our family inside this office. So it's exciting to be able to, authentically put that out to the marketplace. So keep that up, Gav. So show me, mate. We're in Brighton East, like I mentioned, an amazing pocket, bayside, stone's throw to water, great villages, schools, recreational reserves, into the city. Yeah,
I guess a high level, your balance sheet sort of looks like if you're buying land at around 2 to 2.5, somewhere in that price bracket, and then you're selling single houses for about 5.5, or even 5 to 5.5. And with the product that we've now got in place, there's good money to be made. So when you start to think about those sorts of numbers, that then gives you, I guess, corridors or pockets, suburbs where you can start to look in, where you can try and meet all that sort of criteria in both picking up the land and what you can get for resales, because the product has a price. It's going to vary a little bit depending on maybe how close you are to the water versus the suburb or the school, all those sorts of things. The demographic, where you could be looking in Welwyn versus Bayside. It's a different design. So, but ultimately, the cost of that construction is going to be fairly similar. So it really moves around what you're buying the land for and what you can sell them for. And it's similar to townhouses, I guess, as well, really.
No, 100%. And as you know, we've sort of simmered it down to pretty basic principles: is buying and selling. Nearly even the selling probably stumps it all. If you're selling at a certain price point, obviously you stack up your previous expenses, but if they work and your resale works, well then it stacks. And I guess just quickly, for me, the reason this is becoming such a thing is, to live in a massive 4-bed, 5-bed, 48, 52, 57 square home, don't get me wrong, it's more or less the Australian dream. So for people to be able to do this and buy these that are all ready to go, bespoke, especially as it runs through our process, we've thought about it. Everything's been considered from a spec, from a floor plan. All these things have been considered to be able to buy that ready to go and move your family into and plug and play. I think that's definitely super appealing, rather than, for an owner-occupier family to go through that build process themselves and rent and do all that sort of stuff. So for me, that's why there's a market here for it. It comes with all the builder's warranties and all those sorts of things. So it is definitely a sought after product.
Families are still worried about builders going broke. So they're apprehensive about doing new builds themselves. They're apprehensive about doing big renos. Also, backing that up is when you think about, when we're selling in a year or two, what's the market like for people who are going to be buying? And for investors in Victoria, they're still going to pay this exorbitant land tax bills if they've got multiple properties. So the investors out there who are looking to buy an investment property to rent out, they're not as aggressive when it comes to buying at the moment. But families who want to buy a house to live in, they're much more motivated to find a house and to pay for it.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, you got that part of it. And then even just going back into the land tax, these investments that you're about to take us through, they're quite a quick and, aggressive turnover. So, as we know, land tax kicks in the 31st of December if you own property at that time. But in these cycles, you probably only likely see one land tax bill. Which means you're an active property player. You factor that into your costs and you rock and roll rather than this sort of passive property investment strategy that's everyone's done for so long. That is getting quite onerous to be active, to be selling, to be transacting, getting your cash out, and then maybe diving into something else. It's definitely a trend that I'm seeing come through our clients to be active property players.
Yeah, at the moment, it definitely feels as though there's more buyers for a house that they're going to move into and live in themselves. Yeah, we're still buying dual locks, no problem. The last few sites I bought are dual lock sites.
Yep.
And we've still got a great product for that, and we're going to obviously cover that in future episodes when we probably talk about those sites. It's got a few backed up at the moment, which is great. So let's dip into where we are today. So getting back to what I was mentioning before, looking at around that sort of 2 to 2.5 million purchase price.
Yep.
Great to get onto the Bayside side of Nepean Highway. We're in Brighton East, 15 kilometres from the city. Now, we do have a display home just over here.
Yep.
And it's all great through here and all up here as well. Probably paying maybe an extra 100 grand, maybe more, for that side of the golf course. But this pocket here is still very, very popular. Not only that is, if I just mention the address first, we're at 11 Welwyn Avenue in Brighton East.
Yes.
So we're close to Dendy Park here. So yes, we'd like to be maybe on the other side here if you've got deeper pockets.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of sites we're looking at over there at the moment.
Yeah.
But here we're walking distance to Dendy Park. It's a ripper. So it's still this pocket is seeing some really good results. Was it number 15?
15 Sunlight, that rings a bell.
Yeah, 15 Sunlight, I think it was. That was 5-7.
Oh, it's a big one.
Yeah, look, we've spoken to the agent about it. It probably was a bit overs, no doubt. And it's a nice house, but it's not off the charts bespoke and specification. It's no doubt it's nice, but it's a great comp.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a great point, Gav. It's a great comp, but you did mention that's not the comp. That's not the resales that we'll be using. It's all these sales have numbers attached to them, but it's the key is digging deeper and finding out the backstory and talking to the agent like you've done and hearing that negotiation to say, we think it probably was overs and that vendor at the time was lucky. So that's important that we get that information and not just take that sale price on face value.
And it was on the market for a while, and it was the second agent that got their hands on it. So I think the vendor obviously was trying to either make money back or they just felt it was worth a certain number. And then
they got a little bit lucky, but they were in the game, and luck comes to those who have a crack. So but I think great point. Which when we get to the Feaso, your world famous Feaso, you'll see that we're not using that price as our realistic level.
Okay, so there's been a couple of others on the market nearby. It's just 7 and 7A Welwyn. So this is actually a front to back development site, but it was off market but available for sale as a complete site. I looked at it, and at the time at 2.4 they were asking. Yeah, I just felt maybe it's just a bit too heavy.
Bit toppy.
And there was another sale as well, very close by, around 2.4. So let's just have a quick chat about the site. So we're at 650 square meters. I think it's a standard frontage, 15.26. Yep, so standard frontage. It's flat. I would have a quick zoom in here. Now, we know Bayside love their trees, so very, very mindful of what trees we need to look out for. For this particular site, there's a tree in the front nature strip, but it's not an issue. I mean, it's a single house we're doing on here anyway. But there's no other trees. There were a couple in the front yard, but nothing major. It's all pretty much just scrub. So we have sent a couple of photos off to our arborist and had a look, but he said, look, not a problem. Walk in the park. No major issues with shadowing, maybe a little bit here with windows on this particular dwelling, but with the Bayside side setback guidelines, we'll probably just be a couple of metres off that boundary anyway.
100%. When you're doing ready-built single and a single dwelling, you have got a bit more flexibility to shift, and you just won't be as onerous on the block of land. And just going back to your land size at about the 650 with 15 metres sort of a frontage there in Bayside to do a dual lock, that is getting, that is sort of fine, isn't it? It's tight.
Yeah,
with, like you said, with your side setback requirements and those sorts of things, they're not going to be monsters. So
restrict your design, yeah.
Correct. And that's where, obviously we've made the decision to do the single. The site's probably just not big enough.
Yeah. Look, what we can do, we are through the process a bit. We got a 4-month settlement on it, but we've already had the site surveyed, and we could probably just touch on the floor plan for a sec
great.
here.
Who doesn't love a floor plan?
So we won't get into it. I mean, Claire might go through this in another episode, but so here we go. This is the plan laid out on the site. Now, the typical floor plan is 48 squares. We've also got a massive covered alfresco on the back, so it pushes it out to 52 squares, which is terrific.
Amazing.
We actually do have an allowance for a pool and extra landscaping, which we'll get to in a sec. The design we have for Bayside, it's either 4-bed or 5-bed. In this particular example, we've used 4-bed, and we can talk about the strategy about that in another episode, I guess. But just high level, massive ensuite, double walk-in robes, incredibly large. I mean, you walk through the display house. That's like you could.
No, that is such a good space.
You could have a bowling green in there. Huge study, and the beds 3 and 4 at the back are huge, and they've also got, they're like master en-suites really.
Yeah.
So it's a great product.
Yeah, 100%. When I look at that, you don't want for anything in that in that house. I've got 4 kids. I could live there extremely comfortably. Yeah. Amazing space, finishes, which we'll get into, but mastered down, multiple living zones. Yeah, ripper, Gav. Alfresco, spot on.
Yeah, pool, the whole lot. So it'll be a cracker. Okay, so look, the site is looking good.
Yeah, love it.
We like the design that we've got on the block. Let's jump into the numbers.
World famous numbers, Gav.
All right. So now, that's what I was going to talk about, how we picked this up. So received a call from a buyer's advocate who I've dealt with before. He was going to buy it for himself and do a full renovation. The house on it is pretty derelict. Apparently the owner, a lady in it's like a hoarder, so it's just a mess, essentially. For him, it was going to be a project. He was going to do a full renovation. And him, like yourself, he has 4 kids, young kids, and he just thought maybe 4 young kids and a renovation might just be biting off a bit more than he can chew. So gave me a call, said, hey, look, I've got this great site. It's probably worth, based on what's happening around, it's probably worth 2.3 to 2.4.
Yep.
But I can get it for you for 2.1.
Yeah, okay.
So the bell's ringing.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, we're ahead here already, 300 grand. So
which is, I guess that's where we sort of position ourselves, don't we? The fact that you're always boots on the ground, we're always chatting to agents are approaching us. It gives us the opportunity to act on things that, the vendor here and the agent here didn't want to do a campaign. It's going to be painful, it's going to be costly, all these sorts of things. They do a quick transaction which suits all parties, but the fact that we get first hands on it is a great part of what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we were the first people they called. And he said, look, I'll give you 24 hours or 48 hours just to sort of get back to me and let me know what you want to do. Now, I had a buyer for looking for this exact type project. He was in the middle of, just at the end actually, of selling his business, which was going to help him to sort of, I guess, pay for the deposit and get the ball rolling. And it was all dated and supposed to happen, and it was being pushed back, and it was just going to be too difficult. Really to make it work, and there was a very good chance that we were going to lose the site because even though I wasn't dealing with the agent, I was dealing with the advocate, but I think the agent, also had someone he was talking
100%.
to.
You got to be quick. You got to be swift.
Even if they're saying they're not, they are,
100%.
So I had to be quick. So what we did was we always go to our personal investors first, the people I'm trying to look after.
Yep.
There was no one else that was sort of looking for a product like that or had the budget for it. So then we just thought, look, let's just go and talk to our investor network and see if we can round up the cash.
Yep.
And sure enough, we had a contract signed in 3 hours from the phone call.
Yeah, no, 100%. It all happened pretty quickly, and some of these things do. So it's when you've got to be ready to go, you got to be ready to go and move swiftly and sign it up on unconditionally, and you don't want to put roadblocks up for these sort of exciting deals. So. Well done to you, Gav.
It was a busy 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like talking to the arborist, getting in there, getting some photos.
Yep.
Doing all the feasibility and really challenging it.
Yep.
You and I, we sit down and we'll really try and blow it up. This one here was pretty hard to blow up. It was looking good from the get go. When you're buying 200 or 300 unders, you've got a great starting point.
You got a great starting point's great. So do you want to take us through the costings there, Gav?
Okay, so we've got our 2.1 in here as our purchase. We've got our stamps and adjustments.
Yep.
We've also had to include the buyer's advocacy fee. We've actually, this is the first property I've bought since being here that we've actually had that. It's just how it sort of came about. So
yes,
he gets looked after very well. The ready build single house, you'll probably be familiar with some of the feasibilities we talked to before about dual locks. It's structured a little differently. We've got 60 grand for soft costs. There's also some in the build, but most of the soft costs are separate here at 60 grand. The project management fee is different to how we'd normally establish it.
Yeah, 100%. I think, people would have seen at 8% of the build for our custom solution that we manage for people, which obviously is quite a bit more labor intensive and time consuming from our end. But as people will get to see, we're at a fixed 80,000 plus GST for our ready build range, which for us to stay at 8% just would have been just too heavy and just not worth that. So we want to stay competitive. We want our clients doing this, but obviously we need to cover our costs.
Yeah, look, we're still very, very. I mean, we've got a lot to do in a delivery of a project like this. But keep in mind, in very simple terms, we've already done a lot of the design work up front. So that process is most of it's already done. There's no town planning, and we don't have to put together a building tender and actually manage a tender as well, vet and so forth. So there's time saver there. So we're going to pass that on to our clients.
Correct.
But there's still a lot of other.
100%,
a lot of due diligence and a lot of other work with our projects team in order to make sure that it's delivered exactly how we want it.
100%. No. Well said, Gav.
Great. So moving into the build costs, we've got a set fee here at 1120. You pay 5,000 up front, and that's locked in.
That's locked in for 12 months, and if you don't build within 12 months, there's some small incremental increases. But to lock a single build in for 12 months with everything that's been going on is a great thing.
Great, and gives the buyer confidence as well.
Correct.
Now we're still working through this process. We've got the design right. The spec sheets actually came through today. Nathan's been working on them furiously for the last couple of months. Really, we've all been sort of in that mix, but he's really been pushing it hard of late, and we've just got those through today. So up until then, I've just allowed an extra $50,000 for an up spec and specification. So better stone, hardwood floors, a bit more cabinetry. We've also in the soft costs got a bit of allowance there for some internal design as well. So we'll just sort of we'll sort of finalise that, haven't we? It's a step up. It's
100%, and that's what you can expect. You come into our ready build range. It's a cut above everything else that's out there with all the large scale builders, and as everyone that follows along, and we usually have these chats with Nathan, but that's the initiative that we wanted to provide to the market. It's that middle space that got custom all the way up here. You got the volume guys down here. Where can we live in the middle where we can still make things stack, bring the most value we can from these large scale builders, but put our own spin on it. That's what you get with our ready build range, which everyone that follows along understands. But spot on, Gav. It's a step up from everything else that's going on, and it deserves to be in these blue chip suburbs.
That's right. Yeah, it's considered. It's a little fish design, it's a
Yep.
little fish specification, and we've been through every spec on.
100%. We've spent years, as everyone knows, managing and delivering on custom builds. Where things have gone, we do need to find something that's going to work for everyone out there, rather than people sort of getting involved in these super expensive sort of builds where a lot of areas have gone. Not to say they don't deserve to be done in certain areas.
Absolutely.
But there's areas that we have to be savvy with our price, and we have to be smart. So anyway,
Well, we're looking at a couple of sites now, actually in Brighton, for a couple of clients who have actually asked for that type of project.
Yeah.
And they'll be Little Fish custom all day.
they'll be custom, and they'll be amazing. So lovely work.
Great. So what we've also included here is I've got another 120 grand. So that's going to cover a good medium size in-ground plungy pool and some quite serious what we call poolscaping.
Yeah.
For the lifestyle that surrounds the pool and outside the back door. So that's quite generous, and we'll create a fantastic family entertainment area out the back. Now with our investment fund, they pay cash for the land and for the soft costs, so they only have lending on the construction, which ultimately we mentioned before that resale at 5.7. Now we're not probably going to be looking at hitting that. What we've done is we've kept it down to around 5 mil. I think if we were selling today, that's probably where it would be. It is a tight market, but there's limited stock, and good product like this is still going to sell fairly strong. So we think 5 grand is quite comfortable, and what that provides is a nice 25% return on investment and $962,000 net profit. Now, if I scroll down here a little bit more, I can show you that we've got 3 investors on this project. They're all putting in just over $800,000 each. They're all making 320 grand each. So the return on equity is for the project is close to 40%. The return on equity year on year is 34%.
Yeah.
Now, if your bank can give you 34% interest, let me know the number, because I'm in.
Get it out of the bank is what you're saying.
Yes.
Get it in here. Great insight, Gav. And less risk, no planning, quicker turnarounds, and all those costs that you've mentioned in there, a lot of them are quite fixed. You've purchased it, fixed. Our fees, fixed. Soft costs, fixed. Build, quite fixed. There's some, we've got some wriggle room in landscaping and things like that we can massage, but we manage that. And then you've got obviously your resale, which isn't fixed, but feel like sitting below that 5, that subconscious, big number 5, and being in clear air with a 4 in front of it, Gav, this warms my heart.
Yeah, looking at some of the other comps around as well. I mean, that's not the only comp we looked at, of course. We had a placeholder in the feasibility at the very beginning at 5.2.
Yeah.
And, really in 14 months when you're looking at selling this, surely you're probably advertising it around that maybe.
Well,
I guess we'll find out, won't we?
100%, we will find out. But yeah, I couldn't agree more, Gav. I'd like to think we're playing in that little green column somewhere.
Yeah, and we're confident in the product that we're producing, so it's going to be fantastic to see it come to life. Man, there's a lot of work that's happened in the background to get to this point.
That's right. Yeah.
The relationship is super strong. So we are very confident in the product. And looking at other comps and the one that we've mentioned, I'll be surprised. It's going to be somewhere between 5 and 5.2, I think.
Yeah, well done, Gav. No, amazing, mate. Amazing episode. Wrapped to have you back and show us what we're doing here with these single builds in amazing suburbs of Melbourne. You'll be back in a week or 2. There's another site we need to cover, Dual Lock, Ready Build Dual.
Yep.
But another ripper spot. Comps are there. And
another off-market purchase. Another actually group of smaller investors got together. And have sort of purchased their site, and they're super excited. Yeah,
nice work. And I can't help but feel the people that are acting now are gonna thank themselves that they're diving back into the market. So anyway, no one's got a crystal ball, but you heard it here first. Well done, Gav. Thanks, mate. Thanks. Good to have you back. Keep on buying, mate. Keep on hustling.
Got heaps more sites coming up to talk about.
Awesome. Well done. Beautiful. Thanks, Gav. Anyone that's going to get value out of that, please share that with your family and your friends. Anyone that should be doing this, get it across to them. And if you're not already, make sure you dive into the Little Fish Network. Become a fish. Get in there, get the value. Gav's in there, Claire's in there, Jones is in there, the whole Little Fish team's in there, I'm in there. Lots of exciting things getting dropped there before everyone else knows about it. So dive in there. Happy developing.